Alright. Hello, future second channel viewers. This is mostly just to get some rambles out. It's gonna be relatively unscripted, and I'm talking with chat. We're gonna talk about the Switch 2, Splatoon 3 stuff, all that. I believe I have streamed both of these. Yeah, I streamed this. I'm not even really sure what replays I can even put on. So I guess these I haven't streamed. I played a Reflux game, but it was bad. So I'll put these on. Because obviously we're yapping right now, so I don't want to split between that and the game. And real quick, I'm going to turn the game audio down for myself, because whenever I'm talking, I don't want it super loud. But yeah, we're just here to yap. I want to start with the bad news and get it over with in regards to the Switch 2, because I don't want to spend the whole time talking about this. But I also feel like this cannot really be ignored. So, during the Direct, you saw that I had some concerns about prices. Now we know all the prices. And they're not good. They're absolutely the worst part about this, by a lot. Now, some of the prices are okay. I think the console being $450 is fine. It's not amazing by any means, but it's fine. It's acceptable. The Mario Kart 8 Deluxe bundle, or not Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, dude, I'm so used to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it's gonna be so weird. Mario Kart World, the Mario Kart World bundle for $500 is fine as well, I think. I think that's fine. Everything else, I think the Joycons are $90, the Pro Controller is $80, which I thought the Pro Controller would be worse, but that's still bad. Frankly, I think for how often the Pro Controllers have issues, $70 for them is frankly a scam. So, for $80, these controllers better have, like, reduced input delay, better battery life. They better do everything. And never need a replacement. It's like, come on, dude. But the worst one is the games. The games are $70 to $80 in the US. In other places, they are worse. So, the new Mario Kart is $80. Which is insane. The FCC filings for the controller show better gyro sensors. Great, I get to buy another controller after I just had to buy one. I was holding off on replacing my Pro Controller because of that. I was literally holding off on it because I was like, oh, they're probably going to do a new one. But then I had to buy it because my other controllers are just not working. So, unfortunate, you know. Yeah, the new Mario Kart is $80. I think that if you want the Mario Kart, you should get it with the bundle. I'm not going to lie, I don't think, like, I don't care how good the game is. $80 is ridiculous. Genuinely ridiculous. I know in other countries it's even more. I'm sorry for anyone who is Canadian or Australian. I think in Canada it's like 140 or something. And like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I think in Europe it's 80 to 90 with euros, something like that. The prices are insane. On top of that, we know the price for the, you know, upgrade packs thing, which is $10 to $20. Remember, only the Zelda ones are free with the expansion pass. Now, this depends to me. If the Switch 2 version comes with a good amount of added content, if it comes with real DLC, then $10 to $20 is fair. If all it is a slightly graphically enhanced port, no. I'm sorry, for just better graphics and FPS, it should not be $10, in my opinion. I think that's too much. But, that's that. Scarlet Violet's also free? Okay, maybe some of the others are. But I think the charged ones has to have content. Like, Jamboree clearly has a lot of added content. I get it for Jamboree. Even then, is it $20? I don't know. Point being, The prices are the worst part about the Nintendo Switch 2. I think practically everyone will agree with that. The prices on the Nintendo Switch 2 are bad. They are very, very bad for the games. And that sucks. It really does, especially in today's economy. Like, this is... I think it's gonna hurt their sales, frankly, but... You know, what can I say about it? So, I just wanted to get those out of the way. Before we got into anything else. Just real quick. So, here you go. Okay, I have to eat real quick, because I have legit just been doing stuff all morning, so I'm gonna pause the recording. Okay. Food break done. So what do y'all want to talk about next? Price is out of the way. What's next? I kind of feel like just going in order of what chat says, like the one time we talked about Invincible. UI and visuals? I mean, I don't have too much UI, but like, we can talk graphics real quick. I think the graphics exceeded my expectations. I didn't expect 120, and I didn't expect 4K. I expected 1440 60. But we have 4K, and 120 FPS, and 120 Hertz. Even more importantly. Even games that are going to be on, you know, 60 FPS will still, I think should still be 120 Hertz. So... should feel smoother. That on top of the improved gyroscope and Wi-Fi connection and all that, and games should feel a lot smoother. I'm really hoping that the input delay is toned down. If I have to buy another Pro controller, then like the input delay is my #1 hope. I'm also hoping that like, I know there's something Dude pointed out, but like you can plug the controller directly into the console instead of the dock, because of the port on the top. So I'm hoping that is also a chance for wired mode to be better. VRR? I don't know what VRR is. Or at least, like, I'm not familiar with the abbreviation, so I want to clarify. But I think that the graphics and performance improvements were above expectations. This feels very close to modern hardware. I like it a lot. Mouse got confirmed, including dual mice. They didn't really show aiming off that much with it. I thought Splatoon was going to be showcased for that. They showed a bit of Metroid Prime, but I feel like showing a multiplayer shooter would make sense. But I guess it's because, as far as I'm aware at least, Splatoon 3 does not have confirmed mouse support. Variable refresh rate helps to reduce input latency and smooths out frame rate inconsistencies. Then yeah, all things point to a smoother FPS experience for, you know, hopefully Splatoon 3 on the Switch 2, but at least Splatoon 4. Yeah, they did show aiming on more casual games, but I felt like Splatoon wouldn't be crazy to showcase. 10-year anniversary is the best time to be revealed. We'll get to Splatoon stuff in a bit. Well, I have a lot to say about that. But hardware-wise, I think the mouse looked good. I think the games look good. I think in general, I think the hardware was pretty good. Especially for, like, remember, this console is still part portable. It's kind of insane. Oh yeah, voice chat. I'll talk about the Splatoon implications of the special meter stuff later, because I saw people talk about it. The screen share is terrible. Like, the frame rate and quality is absolutely horrid, but like, come on. Interested in any of the amiibo? I haven't seen them, and I'm not interested. The only amiibo I get are the Splatoon amiibo. I do not get any of the others. Thoughts on the basketball game? I kind of forgot about it, I'm not gonna lie. It looks cool. It did look cool. Even though I forgot, I swear, it still looked cool. I think, like, using the dual mice is interesting. I'm surprised there was no accessories for the mouse shown off. I'm sure they'll exist. If not third party, definitely will. But yeah, to be honest, I'm not super interested in the voice chat. It's cool that it's restricted to, like, friends or something. As far as I'm aware, you can't do it with randoms. Like, good. So, whatever. Voice chat is not a feature I super care about, to be honest. What GameCube games do you want on NSO? I wanted Luigi's Mansion, and we got it. I played it on the 3DS, but I've been wanting to stream a Luigi's Mansion 1 playthrough because it is by far my favorite Luigi's Mansion game. I played 3 off stream for like, I think 7 hours or so. I couldn't get into it. I saw a good video on why. I don't really remember it, but there is a video out there on why Luigi's Mansion 1 is like a different style of game. But yeah, that, I want a Double Dash. And I'd really like Melee. Not just for like competitive scene stuff, but like I haven't played Melee in a while. And I would like to experience it, you know, like more casually. That would be a way I could do that. My first console was a GameCube. Well, actually, my first console was an SNES, but it wasn't my console. My grandma owned an SNES. So, when I got to visit, I would play on it. That was some of my first experience. I played Mario 3 and Mario World. I already talked about the prices, so I'm not going to cover them again. Okay, I think we're good on hardware. We can finish talking up GameCube. The big one is Double Dash. The big one's Double Dash. I want Double Dash on the console. I think the Double Dash feels very unique compared to other Mario parties, and or not Mario Parties, Mario Karts. And that is something I want to see. So I would like Double Dash more than anything else. I'm not gonna lie, like the Switch 2 games being free on the expansion pass, like some of them plus the GameCube stuff, I might finally get the expansion pass. I have held off for so long. But this might be what does it. Plus, if they had, like, Wii or DS games or anything. Dude, imagine the DS mini-games on the Switch screen. Because they're so small on the DS screen. If they could be on the Switch screen... Oh my god. Like, DS ports have to be next, right? Or is it GBA? I didn't have a GBA, so... I don't know. I think GBA already happened. But I don't quite remember. I want DS games. Oh yeah, they had scalping stuff. I guess I could talk about it briefly. They made pre-orders exclusive to those who have had NSO for like a year or two and have a Switch 1 to deter scalpers. I don't think it'll make it impossible to get it. And to be honest, I kind of think it's a necessary precaution these days. Guys, scalping is like really bad these days. It's really bad. It's so bad. So like, I get it. GBA is already on it. Okay, that's what I thought. What else were we? Let's talk Mario Kart next. I haven't talked about a game. Outside of the horrid $80 price tag, which you should circumnavigate by buying the bundle with it, I think that Mario Kart World looks amazing, but it also looks like a bit of a departure from like the standard stuff with the series. The non-standard stuff is cool. Like, I like all the characters. I like that Airship Fortress is back. That's awesome. I would like the underwater Wario map from Mario Kart 7 as well. And DS Rainbow Road. Maybe Wario's Coliseum. Because you could do so much with that with anti-grav. Dude, forget playing as a cow. You can be a Cataquack. If you can be a red Cataquack, that will be my main. I will only play as the red Cataquack. Wario Shipyard is confirmed. It was in the trailer. Sick. Awesome. Yeah, I think outside of that, though, the whole, like, driving off the track and open world stuff, no idea how that'd play out. It is very different. I think the animations are really good, too. We saw this in the DK game reveal, but, like, the animations are very expressive. I really like that. It's clear they took that from Wonder and are, like, running with it with all the other stuff. I really like it. I'm unsure if Mario Kart will get more crossover characters this time. Because it seems like instead they're just allowing you to play as literally every Mario character ever you've seen. But, like, we'll see. The DK design has grown on me a bit. I still prefer the old one. But the new one's so expressive, it's probably going to win me over eventually. I do want to get the new DK game. I don't like that it's $70. So I gotta think about it. I'm not going to make a commitment. Yeah, EGAD should be a racer for sure. But Tropical Freeze was a 10 out of 10 game. It was legit a 10 out of 10 game. You guys, whoever saw my DK Tropical Freeze streams or VODs, you guys know. That game is fucking amazing. That may be the best video game I have ever played. So, like, I'm 100% curious what they could do with the 3D Donkey Kong. I know it's not the same thing, but, like, I feel like it deserves a really good chance, given that. I will say, I was so surprised. I was so surprised. Yeah, it's $70. It was it's the 40th anniversary for Mario. I'm guessing the Mario platformer is going to be at the end of the year. I still think that's this year, but I guess it's at the end of the year. I don't really want to talk about the ports or third-party stuff. Even Deltarune and Silksong. Those two are obviously the highlights. I did not play Deltarune Chapter 2. I did beat everything in Chapter 1 a long time ago. I was not super into it. I have played Undertale all the way. I enjoyed Undertale. But I didn't really like Deltarune. Or not that, sorry. Not that I didn't like it. I didn't get invested in it, is the right word. Like, I played that story, and then when I was done, I thought nothing about it. I think Chapter 2 got me a little more invested from, like, watching, but not enough for me to pick up the game. For me to play a game like that, I need the story to really hook me. And I get that, like, Deltarune is 7 chapters, and it's only 2 that are out, so I'm sure it will get better. But my thought process then was, okay, I'll just play it all when the new chapters come out. Like, why not just do it now? And to be honest, that's still my thoughts right now. The price tag is $25, and chapters 5 through 7, that will be added after, will be free. So $25 is the price of the full game, which is amazing. Good job, Toby Fox. But do I want to get invested in chapters 3 and 4 if 5, 6, and 7 are going to take, like, God, I don't even know how many years to be out. I'm not sure. I might play it. If people would watch it, I would play it, because I really do want to stream more variety content, and I'm hoping with the newer Switch 2 games, people will give more of a chance to watching streams that aren't Splatoon, because, like, I'm still enjoying Splatoon and comp, but streaming the game, not really. I haven't really streamed solo or grinded solo or played the game too much casually. Comp has me hooked. Comp is amazing right now. But it's, like, only comp that has me hooked. So, like, I'd love to do more other streams. So, Luigi's Mansion 1 will be happening. I am doing a Luigi's Mansion 1 playthrough. You guys will watch. I might even do a main channel video on it if I feel like there's enough interest. That game is amazing. Deltarune's a maybe. I'm planning to get the Mario Kart bundle for the Switch. So, there will probably be a Mario Kart stream. Anyway, we're getting off topic. I have not played Hollow Knight yet. It's one of those games that's on the list. But I have recently followed that Silksong news channel. And seeing that guy, so happy that there's finally news after like 2,000 days. That was nice. I will not play tournaments for Mario Kart World. I have never been a comp Mario Kart player. And I don't think I'm going to be hooked into it with this one. Maybe there's a chance, but Mario Kart is just not really a comp experience for me. I like watching it. I follow a few channels for it. I find it really interesting. Like, I've watched Basic and Shortcut and I'm forgetting the name of someone. I'm sorry. But I do watch it a little bit. But I've never had interest in playing. Oh, tournaments with viewers. Maybe. But I'd probably just play with my friends. I'm super casual with it. I get on Mario Kart to play with friends and have fun, and that's it. I guess something else we could talk about. There's not a whole lot of games. Like, first-party games, I mean. Yeah, Kiver does call Mario Kart before Splatoon. So, like, if you guys want to check out some Splatoon Mario Kart stuff, Kiver is your guy. He is amazing. Thoughts on the camera feature? I'm not paying $50 for that. I don't think I'd do it for free. Cool for people who like that kind of thing. I don't really care. That's it. I don't really care personally. Alright, is it time to move on to Splatoon talk? What do you guys think? Is there anything else non-Splatoon related we would like to talk about? Because Splatoon's gonna take a bit to talk about. Is there anything non-Splatoon related I have missed or forgotten about that you guys want to talk about? Special edition? No idea, I don't care. Screen share was 10 FPS? Yes, it was. As screen share was bad. I have doubts about the mic. I do too. But we'll see what they're cooking. Kirby Air Ride. I have not played a Kirby game. I am excited for it. Omega was super hyped for it. But I haven't played it. So, I'm not sure I'll buy it if it's $70. If it's cheaper than $70, we'll think about it. But if it's $70, I'm gonna buy games I know I'm gonna play and nothing else. Because, like, why am I gonna risk that insane price tag? The tech demo? I'm sorry. I know there's mini games in it. That shit should not be paid. That should not be paid content. I don't care if it's, like, free with the expansion pass, whatever. That being paid is so silly. I'm sorry. It's so silly. No, the tech demo costs money. I don't know how much. I haven't seen anyone confirm it. I'm guessing it's like $10, $5. But I think it should be free. It is literally just like hardware details and tech demo stuff. Come on. Alright. It seems like outside of the tech demo and Air Ride, no one has brought up anything. Also, yes, I thought Air Ride was Smash. That bait was funny. But I do feel bad that the Smash players waiting for a new game to get baited. That's gotta hurt, dude. That has gotta hurt. Alright. I think it's time we talk about the possibility of Splatoon 3 getting an Switch 2 version. So, real quick right off the bat. I think that even if it got a Switch 2 version, you could make the two versions compatible. You could have 120 and 60 FPS play together. Other shooters do it. I'm pretty sure you can do that. So I think that'd be fine. I think that a new version would not make it unplayable. What would matter is new content, which I'll get into in a minute. But what are the advantages a Switch 2 Splatoon 3 would have? A lot. Even if there's no content, guys, and this is kind of a point I want to point out. Even if there's no new content, the people on a Switch 2 are going to have a huge advantage. Because of the better hertz, the better input delay, the better controller. Like, I'm gonna be honest, guys, there's no getting around it. The Switch 2 is probably, like, almost certainly going to have a competitive advantage. They can add zero content to that game. And then the other thing I talked about, the voice chat stuff, you can have people screen share their POVs. When you're dead, you can watch them. And you can watch their special gauge. You can glance at their screens much more easily. That is very helpful in a competitive setting. Granted, you can, like, see that stuff normally if you screen share, but, like, getting on the same screen? Now, maybe it'll be too cluttered. I don't know. There's a chance it'll be too cluttered. But I think more than likely, people are going to find a way to use that. So, I just want to get right off the bat, because I know some people are saying it'd be unfair because Switch 2 would have an advantage. There's no getting around it. I agree it's unfair. I agree it sucks. But what are you going to do? It's just going to be like that. You can't just ban people playing on a Switch 2. There are going to be people who play Splatoon 3 who don't own a Switch 1 and want to do comp. Maybe not immediately, but it's going to happen. There are people with Switch 1s that have batteries ready to explode that are going to need to switch to the Switch 2 version to play the game. So, like, there will inevitably be a competitive advantage to playing on the Switch 2, and that's just a reality we are going to have to deal with. There's no getting around it to me. That said, what about content? So, I'm gonna start by saying, like, okay, because I got this a lot of my comments on my initial 3-minute video. I totally get that it sucks that some content would be exclusive to the Switch 2 version, given the extra money and all that. I get it. I get it. That sucks. I'm not arguing against it. That is 100% correct and valid. Here's the thing, guys. Splatoon 3. Let's say the best case scenario happens and we get new content alongside the Switch's release. That's in like early June. Maybe it coincides with the new season. Let's pretend that happens. Just for a second. Okay? Of course it's going to be Switch 2 exclusive. Splatoon 3 will be over 2.5 years old by then. If they're going to add to the game, they have to have a reason for doing it. Splatoon 3's sales post-launch are nowhere near as good as Splatoon 2's. Momentum died off a lot faster. And I'm not here to have a whole discussion about that because Splatoon 3 also had way more people buying it on launch. That's probably the main reason. I'm not saying updates and Cyber being late weren't at fault for it. The point being, Nintendo hasn't added content for a while. It's a Switch 1 game. If they're going to put in more dev resources to this game, instead of a Splatoon 4, which can make them money, by the way, there has to be a financial incentive. It's just how the world works. I don't like it. But let's weigh our two options. And I'm curious what chat's going to say. Type 1, if you would rather have Splatoon 3 have no content added at all. Or 2, if you'd rather have content added if it's Switch 2 exclusive. 1 for nothing else, 2 of content if it's Switch 2 exclusive. And the VOD people are just going to have to trust me on the chat. We're at like 80% 2s. If I'm being extremely generous to the people typing 1s, then maybe they have a third. It's divisive, for sure. But I think most people would take the trade-off of having more content if it's locked to the new one. And I'm kind of one of them. I'm not saying I'd be happy about it. I will say, third kits should have happened for this game, and they should have been free, and they should have been on this system. But now our option is probably between that or nothing. My hands are tied. So it sucks. Splatoon 3 does not feel like an unfinished game. I don't think that's accurate. It feels like it is lacking content in some areas at it being done. But Splatoon 3 being like in a, I don't know, it's so weird to talk about because like a completed state for a game like this is different from like the end game state, I guess. The game gets complete and then you add stuff to it because it's a live service, you know, game to some extent. But I wouldn't say Splatoon, like, I don't know. I think Splatoon 3 is a complete game as is. I just think it could be a better game. Does Nintendo care enough about making it that much better of a game? I don't know. They might not really give a shit. They might think that they've done enough for this game and it's time to move on to S4. That's probably what they think. I want more content for it because I think the game can be a lot better, but like I am a hardcore competitive fan who's been around for a while. That's not the perspective of the average person. Will the average person, you know, who gets a Switch 2 try Splatoon 3 because of that? I don't know. And one of my big arguments for Splatoon 3, you know, being possible to happen is that they would show it off for the mouse controls. But guess what? They didn't. Splatoon 3 wasn't showcased for the mouse controls at all. It might not even have support for them right now. So clearly that might not be that important. So if that's the case, then maybe it is just going to be a port. It could be. I think it is more likely than not that the game is just a port. I give it like a 90% chance that Splatoon 3 is just ported and there is no changes, expansion, S2 version, anything. Switch 2 version, anything. I think that's probable. Switch 2 might cause problems with matchmaking? No. Like, you can just have it so you can't pick the weapons. You can still match against them. That is quite easy. Like, the same thing you do with Mario Kart. If you match with people who have the DLC, you can play it, but you can't pick it yourself. Stuff like that. Pretty simple. Yeah, if Splatoon 3 support, you'd still have the better hertz, you'd still have the better input delay, but you wouldn't have 120 FPS, which would suck. Now, going into leaks for a second, I forget the specifics, but we know Splatoon 4 is in development to some extent. We got it leaked. S4 is somewhat in development. Right? Probably. I'm not going to say guaranteed. But we've known for a bit that S4 at least has, like, some kind of code name. Right? Now, here's what I think. I think adding stuff like third kits to the game and another trailer and porting it wouldn't take that much time. And it would hold over people for longer than it took the dev time to make those things. Because of that, I think it would give Splatoon 4 more of a chance to shine without as much of a drought. Especially between consoles. That's the main argument for me. That's, like, if I'm arguing financial-wise, that's why I'm saying, okay, I think it's a good idea. The other thing is a very personal reason. I don't want a Splatoon 4 right away. I think Splatoon 3 feels amazing. I think it's just lacking content. The maps are a bit lackluster and there could be more kits, but the game itself feels fucking fantastic. I don't remember the last time there were this little complaints about the game's meta. I get that's a little bit competitive, but I haven't seen many people whine about certain overtuned weapons as much in forever. The balance of the game is good. The specials are quite balanced. There's a shit ton of main weapons doing well. There's new stuff doing well, like, every day. It's interesting, and, like, as a comp player, I like to see the game push like this. Especially if patches keep helping with making it interesting, and so far they've done a decent job about it. It won't take long to make third kits. The only thing that would take somewhat long on third kits is balancing and the art for it. That's it. Using a kit editor to make the kit is, like, unbelievably easy. I have seen it. So, for me, I would like a Splatoon 3 expansion and Splatoon 4's 2027 game. But, I don't know if it's likely. That said, there is a time period I'm looking at in terms of release. When I saw they were doing those Switch 2 ports, I did think of S3 because it was a later game, and most of those games that they've shown off are, you know, later ones. Here's what I'm thinking. Summer. I think summer makes the most sense to push Splatoon. It released around the summer, you know, later, but it was supposed to probably be in, like, July before the release date swap, you know. I think summer makes the most sense. Splatoon 1 has a 10-year anniversary in 2 months. I think it's May 29th. The next season is in early June, or if not that one, in late August. That would be my time frame. I think any time after that would just be too late to do the idea at that point. I think it would be too late to really show off the hardware. I think there wouldn't be as much of a point. That would be when I think my hope would be completely dead. I think if there's no content by the end of August, my hopes for a, or maybe after September 9th, given, you know, 3rd anniversary. We'll say that. I think if that date passes and there's absolutely nothing, I think Splatoon 3 is done. Outside of patches, obviously. But until then, I'm holding out a little bit of hope. I honestly have more hope than before because as much as I hate the S1 port stuff being charged for a Switch 2 version, it does solve the problem of financial incentive. That was the #1 reason for them not to do it, but now they can charge like $10, $20. Now there is another option I haven't talked about that I think people would be more okay with, and that is a single-player expansion. Don't have to worry about the multiplayer balance at all if it's a single-player expansion. In fact, maybe you could just update the multiplayer section on both versions and have the single-player one be expanded. Here's the downside of that. A single-player expansion is definitely taking a lot of time away from S4. That will definitely push it back a lot more. But, if I'm being honest, I would still prefer that. I would rather have single-player stuff, and S4 gets pushed back. I really would. Guys, I want to see a Splatoon game that isn't rushed on launch. I do. I really do. That is my #1 hope. I want the devs to just have time with the game. S3 is unfortunate, right? It got hit by COVID, and they clearly still pushed it back quite a lot, even if it launched extremely buggy. This is where I disagree. Okay. I want you to go to patch 1.1 and look at the amount of bugs in the game. That stuff should not be in the game on launch. Just straight up. There is like an entire essay of patch fixes. And that's after the game got pushed back likely several times. Now, I think Splatoon 3 on launch had enough content on launch. For sure. Was the single-player content public? As far as I'm aware, the single-player was done, sure. I don't remember a lot of bugs with single-player, so if you want to make the argument of single-player, that's fine. The problem is Splatoon is a multiplayer game. Primarily a multiplayer game. The multiplayer in Salmon Run being unfinished is crazy. I remember Brella shields flying into the sky. And then the worst one was Mudmouths. Mudmouths were not uncommon. They just flew across your screen and killed you. Instead of, like, disappearing and reappearing. There is, like, zero way they did not know about that. Table Turf launched with no online mode for 6 months. You get the picture. I'm not here to have the whole debate about that, though. My point being, even if you really don't think the Splatoon games were rushed, which, like, all evidence points that they are, even if you really don't think they're rushed, I think everyone should want the devs to have more time with the game. I think that a longer dev cycle would be good, regardless. Yeah, I did my Splatoon 3 meta history, and I looked back at that bug list, and I was shocked how long it was. I was shocked. The online was also worse, by the way. I'll point that out, too. There were DC issues and connection issues that they patched out in that update, and, like, some of the ones following. So, like, it was literally kicking people out of games more frequently. Which 100% hurt the sales of the game. 100% got people to stop playing the game. So, yeah. It sucks. Would an upgrade be worse because it'd be pay to win? If you balance it, it might not be pay to win. So, like, that's a big job on the balancing team, right? If you're gonna do it that way, you can't have a third kit be completely broken. Yeah, the online works better now. Like, they even, in a recent patch a bit ago, improved, like, the connection between players to make that, like, that shaved off some delay. That's awesome, but, like... Think about it, if S3 is on this console and there's crossplay, doesn't that mean they have to use the same netcode infrastructure? I have no idea. I do not know how that works. I do not know if there's a way around it. That could be a problem. That might be fair. That might be a problem. I don't know. I'm not knowledgeable in that, and I will admit that. Yeah, and then there's also the other possibility, which Shadow just brought up in my chat. They could just do the weapon kits on both versions, and have the Switch 2 version just be different in the fact that it's enhanced. But that's a big risk, because then you probably have less incentive to switch to the Switch 2 version. But I think that is the best outcome. Even then, the Switch 2 version would have an advantage, you know, with the input delay and all that. But at least the content would be the same. At least the content would be the same between games. Okay, I've got to talk about this. Someone just brought this up in chat. The mouse controls will be too broken. Alright, listen. I'm going to be honest, guys. This is going to sound like a crazy statement to those not familiar with how good the gyro controls are. The mouse controls compared to gyro are not that large of an advantage. I will not deny that a mouse is better. It is better. But the gap is nowhere near as large as people are pretending it is. That is mostly just misinformation of people who do not know how good the motion controls actually are. Because it is still a very common stereotype that the motion controls are not good. And that it's a gimmick. That is a common stereotype. And it is not true. Now, one thing that the mouse has an advantage over, the Joycon mouse, is that the Joycon mouse will allow you to use a joystick. Remember, Splatoon is a movement shooter. Having your movement limited by a keyboard having WASD instead of, you know, just a plain joystick is a nerf. But that's not a problem with the Joy-Con mouse, because your other Joy-Con can have a stick. So compared to keyboard and mouse, you get better movement, but you also get to have the mouse. That's really crucial. But I still think the gap is small. I think Splatoon players who have experience on other shooters, like anyone who switched to Marvel Rivals recently, or someone like Gray, who's gotten like top 500 on a bunch of other shooters, I think people who have learned other shooters will probably switch. People who have good console skills. I think that the vast majority of motion control users, including top-level players, will not switch. I genuinely believe that. I think that most people will not switch. There's benefits to keyboard movement too. Yes, to some extent, but not for a game like this. Not for a game with movement like this. I think for Splatoon specifically, it would feel worse. I think that, like, having slightly faster inputs of, like, switching around would not be worth the, like, control for specific movement. Like, think about, what's it called? Think about stealth swimming, for instance. Stealth swimming is when you, like, press forward lightly, like, not all the way, and you lightly tap it to avoid the ripples appearing. That on keyboard will be way harder, if not just straight up not possible. You cannot partial press a key. What about analog keyboards? That might be different. But even then, 360 degrees of movement compared to WASD, I'd rather take the 360 degrees. Like, if I'm trying to do a squid roll angle or a squid surge at a specific angle to make a jump, or trying to angle a reef slider, I feel like I would have a much easier time with the joystick. So, at least for this game, I think it's still better. I'm not saying that disadvantage is major, by the way, because it's not really as big a deal as it might sound. But I do think when the gap between motion and mouse is small, that gap, like, helps close it a little bit. Just a little bit. But my point is, all I'm trying to say is people freaking out, saying that, like, weapons are going to reach entirely new levels because of the mouse. No, they won't. What will allow people to reach new levels is the fucking input delay. That will be why everything feels crazy. In other movement shooters like Apex, the keyboard players have better movement than controller players? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'd be curious to learn more about it if you have a video or something like that. You can feel free to @me on Blue Sky with it. I'd be curious to look into that. Because I'm a bit unsure how that would work. But if there's something I don't know, then I'd be glad to, you know, make sure I have the right information. I briefly touched on the input delay, but the controller has better connectivity. We have 120 Hertz, we have 120 FPS, we have a direct wired connection to the top of the Switch. In all likelihood, the Switch 2 should have better input delay. And I think that will make a much, much larger difference than a mouse compared to gyro. Because the input delay difference is crazy. For anyone who hasn't seen Dude's video, Splatoon 1 has half the input delay of this game. Half! That is a lot. It's 6 to 3 frames. 120 Hertz and 120 FPS are different things. Those are both different things that they have. The Wii U motion controls have 3 frames of input delay. Splatoon 2 and 2 has 3. On top of that is tick rate. Now, I don't know if that can be fixed with the Splatoon 3 port, but Splatoon 1 is 25 hertz, is not 25 hertz, is a 25 tick rate game. Splatoon 2 and 3 are 16 or 15. That's a huge difference. So I think all that combined, with the mouse too, because some people will be better at mouse, and I think more casual players getting into the game will prefer the mouse. I think the input delay stuff, tick rate, and mouse combined for like a Splatoon 4 will lead to drastically better gameplay. Absolutely. All of that combined will. But the mouse on its own, I don't think so. I don't think so. In Apex Legends, there are movement techs that are better with controller. Ones that are better than controller. Ones that controller players can't do. The exchange of controller players having aim assist. Okay, that's kind of different then, I guess. It's like I don't think there's any movement tech that would be easier on keyboard, except maybe Squid Surge. But like, guys, Squid Surge is terrible. Squid Surge is bad. You don't use it, even with cooler. The new controllers will now match and exceed gyro recognition. Yeah, and I was just talking about it matching Splatoon 1. It could be better. It could be even better. Yeah, no, Squid Surge has long needed a charge time buff. It is way too slow. But yeah, I'm excited for the controller and quality improvements. Because the game feeling better to control is a huge one. And then we'll also have more stuff like, Malcavi? I'm so sorry if I'm butchering names. I'm bad at names. Like Malcavi put in chat, my comp PC friends never gave Splatoon a try because they didn't want to stuck at aiming with gyro. Yeah. Guys, most comp shooter players in PC will turn away from Splatoon for this very reason. I think that mouse aiming is the single greatest accessibility improvement Splatoon has ever gotten. I do not take that statement lightly. I think it is more impactful than moving off the gamepad to a Pro controller. I think it's absolutely huge. So I think it'll be there. I don't think Joycon mouse will convince PC players to try the game, considering how elitist it is. On its own, no, probably not. But I do think it will, like, move over some people. I think if we have other changes alongside that, it will help. Like, for example, have more weapons available when you start the game. Splatoon 4 should not be a starting with only Splattershot Jr. game. Almost every variety creator I saw play the test fire switched between a billion different weapons and tried out everything. I remember Critical tried out like every single class. And then got confused why he couldn't play them all when the game launched. Like, do not do this. I'm telling you, the class variety is such a good part of this game's strengths. There should be one weapon in every class available at launch, at level 1 or 2, bare minimum. If you have to do one game with Splattershot Jr., whatever, sure. After that, let people have their own pace, please. Splatoon has such a bad habit of trying to control the player experience. This was almost a really large video. It might still be a video, honestly. But like, they need to let that shit go. They need to let that shit go. They need to give players more controller. Like, I beg the devs to let the players just have their own experience with the game. Yeah, Salmon Run being limited time, I got. Like, ranks being locked? League Battle was locked to B rank in S2. Like, what the fuck are we doing locking League behind a rank? What? Like, I get anyone's supposed to get out of C rank, but like, what? Yeah, sure, I'll take that. Yeah, that was with the hero mode, though. That's not, I think, available immediately. Some people are not interested in the single-player mode. That's fine. If anything, if you can hook them onto the game, they might have a more likely chance of switching to it later. Yeah, this is definitely gonna be an S4 video. I gotta talk about this one. But yeah, at the end of the day, we can't really say what's gonna happen with S3. If I were a betting man, I would say that we're not gonna get anything extended, and we're just gonna be playing S3. But maybe there's a chance. Maybe there's a chance we get more stuff. And yeah, S4. I have concerns about multiplayer S4. I should note only multiplayer S4. Because Splatoon 3's gameplay feels so good right now. I'm worried that it's going to be really hard to improve from it. Outside of the maps. Outside of the maps. Gotta get that out of the way. The stages can be very easily improved. We can fix those. We can fix those. Maps and online. Maps, online, input delay. Right? 2 of which can be fixed with a port. Like an enhanced port could fix it. Matchmaking? I think the matchmaking is fine. I don't think the matchmaking is a huge problem. Alright. Is there anything else, Splatoon or Switch 2 related, you guys want to talk about? Because if not, I think we're going to wrap this up soon. Anything we want to talk about to wrap up? Let me know real quick. Better netcode? We don't know for sure. Other than like Wi-Fi 6, we don't know. I'm hoping it's better. I'm assuming it's better. The price, we have talked about it. I think the rank system, BO5, should stay. But I think the X-Rank BO5 should be the standard. I think that should be the standard. The maps can be fixed. The maps can be band-aided. That's what they did. You can make them decent with band-aid solutions. Making them good stages, not gonna happen in this game. I'm sorry. It will not happen. That is a future game problem. I think Anarchy series just needs to let you D-rank. It needs to be like normal BO5s instead of the 5-3. Could Gyro become more mainstream in console shooters? It already kind of is. Gyro, or not standard, sorry, it's growing. It will keep growing. It's already improving. It will probably keep improving. If they don't allow you to connect a third-party mouse to the Switch, then the mouse controls will be useless. No idea, but I would assume it probably won't be too hard to figure that out. That would be my honest guess. My cousins like the maps in S3 over S2. I mean, 1, fair, subjective, but 2, guys, I need you all to listen here. If Splatoon 2 maps are your bar for good stages, raise it. Splatoon 2 maps are not good. I'm sorry. Splatoon 2's maps, here's the thing. I posted about this a bit ago. Splatoon 2's map problems are just less obvious to the average player. The problems you feel with them are not obvious what's wrong. And if you can't identify it, it's harder to tell it's bad. There is no hiding what makes Splatoon 3's maps bad. Let me put it to you this way. Do you think Splatoon 2's maps in this game feel way better than Splatoon 3's? The Reef? The Reef post-rework is a good stage. Reef, Pit, which is S1, and Snapper. That's it. Even S2 Ancho is unfortunately, like, a lot worse than S1 Ancho. It just has fixes in other areas. I would still call it good. Actually, maybe Ancho can fit. But then, again, Ancho is a S1 stage. And then the ports from S1 they chose were awful. The S1 ports to S2 were a tragedy. Oh my god. But also, even Reef, guys, even Reef on launch? Reef on launch was a decent stage. Splatoon 2 launch maps were genuinely worse than S3. They reworked those so fast. With, like, rank changes. God, I have so many memories. The giant walls on Blackbelly Rainmaker. Oh my god. The giant block on Starfish Rainmaker. The old tower path on Humpback. You could go on. Oh my god. But, like, Splatoon 2 maps are just harder to tell. Like, the spawn regions being terrible or the forced mid-fights, you don't notice it as much. Even if it's pointed out, you don't notice it as much. But it's there. And I'm not trying to say Splatoon 1 had flawless map design. Because Splatoon 1's stage design really only got good on the end game. The last, like, 6 maps. But what Splatoon 1 did is they went all out on making stages feel unique and having cool layouts, for the most part. So, like, Rig is a terrible stage. Rig is literally banned in half the modes. You cannot queue into them. It is that bad. But it's fun. Moray is fun. Kelp Dome? Kind of fun. Depends on the weapon you play, right? They tried. Do those stages need to come back? No. Not without drastic reworks. But, like, they tried. I can respect a bad stage that feels unique and has a gimmick and all of that, than a bad stage that is, oh, it's a hallway. Now, Splatoon 1 had bad hallway stages. You know, there was Walleye, there was Mall. Those stages were bad. They were hallways. But it's excusable when it's the first fucking game you're making. You've never done a Splatoon before. Splatoon 4 is going to be, what, 11, 12 years down the line? You can't keep doing this. We need to learn by now. I completely lost the scrim I was in, I think. Where's the replays? We ran out of games? I don't think we did. No. Just Bluefin Mako. And then that's different. Okay, we got 2 games. Also liked Arowana? That's fair. I'm not saying you can't like weaker stages. That's fine. I know some people who really like some of the weaker Splatoon 3 stages, and that's okay. But I think objectively the design problems are there. To be fair, I also think S1 stage design doesn't matter as much. Not that it's bad, but you can kind of just fucking turn invincible and, like, swim through everything. So it doesn't really matter as much when you can just do that. So, like, yeah, Splatoon 1's just kind of broken, and it fixed a lot of problems because of that. Kind of funny. I would like every stage to have a unique gimmick. Armor didn't do that by itself. In S2, that solution was Armor Missile Ray. In S1, you got through bad chokes by brute forcing through yourself no matter what. In S2, you got through it by brute forcing the enemies away no matter what. Oh, you're holding a powerful position? Get Tentamus'd. Get stingrayed. Get second missiled. Get out. And you have to. What are you gonna do? It's like vacate and the other team goes in. Can't hide. Can't stand anywhere. GG, bro. In S1, it's... nah, I'm gonna turn into a Kraken. My entire team is an invincible bubble. Go! What are you gonna do? If Splatoon 3 were to be 5v5, would it ruin the core? I don't know. And it depends how. It depends how. I know this is unrelated, but this is how I felt about Overwatch 5v5. So many people debated Overwatch 2 5v5, and like if it was better or not, and my answer is, man, it depends. It depends. You can make 5v5 better than 4v4 in Splatoon if you do it right, but I don't know how to do it right. Same thing for Overwatch 2. Overwatch 2 kind of failed at making 5v5 better, but it had better aspects to it. There were things it did that are more enjoyable. So it's like, if Overwatch 5v5 fails, it's not because 5v5 itself can't work, it's the way they do it. Now, is it easier to do 5v5 or 6v6 is a whole other topic. And it seems like the player base generally settles on, I don't think the 5v5 switch is necessary. And that's fine. Splatoon 3, on the other hand, I'm not sure. Splatoon is so hectic, it'd be impossible to tell. Again, depends. What if there's 5 people, but the stages are like twice as big and have routes? Then you're gonna have players spread out more often, and it might be less cluttered than 4v4 is, just because things are spread out across the map more. Maybe you can have objectives that are more spread out as well. Like, what if there's 2 spread out zones to control? But the thing is, that's a different game. That's a big risk, right? Those kind of changes you need to do are different. 20 missiles locking onto you? Just make it so that you can't. Take out missiles. Or missiles launches 3 per target if you launch 5 people. I don't know. Point being, these problems can have solutions, but by the time you solve every problem to make a 5v5 Splatoon, will the end product be worth it? I don't know. We don't know what that would look like. You know how hard it is to find 3 good teammates? Finding 4 would be impossible. Yeah, obviously for comp team building, it would make the problem worse than it already is. Undoubtedly. But 99.999% of the population of the game doesn't care. So, like, whatever. They're not going to base a decision around that. So, I don't know if I would like 5v5 more, and I don't feel confident saying that I would. Because I don't know what a 5v5 Splatoon would look like. I don't know. So I can't have an opinion on it yet. It depends. If they do it poorly, then like, yeah, I'm gonna say like either do it differently or do 4v4. Now, the question I think is it worth focusing on 5v5 and all the changes you would need over improving the gameplay formula of 4v4? And to that, my answer is no. Would I rather have 5v5 over having the maps fixed and better special design and, like, more well-balanced main weapons and a better kit system and more ranked modes and less map mode combinations for better quality and better UI, blah, 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 blah? No. To me, there are too many problems that need to be ironed out. Splatoon 3 made a shit ton of progress compared to S2. Like, a genuine ton. But there are a few things, notably the map and the kit system, that need to be fixed before I even think about 5v5. Because, like, those foundations, to me, need to be set first. Before we even are ready to make a 5v5. I don't think we're ready to make a max potential 5v5 yet when we are not at a max potential 4v4 or near max potential. But that statement isn't to say 5v5 can never happen or can't be good or anything like that, because it could. There could be a world. But we're not ready for that yet. We're not ready. That's my take. Yeah, high queue times. That's another problem. You need 10 people for every match.
Unfortunately, Splatoon 3 already has a queuing problem. Though I'd argue that's less of a player-based problem and more of a, there are a billion queues in this game. There are too many queues. There's two X-rank queues. There's a series queue. There's an open queue. There should be a table turf queue. There's a challenge queue that occasionally pops up. Like, holy shit. There's a lot. And I'm aware a lot of other live service games have a lot of queues, but those are games that get consistent content updates. Splatoon is not one of them. Should Splatoon be a live service game that gets consistent content updates? Maybe. But that comes with a whole other set of risks. Guys, I'm gonna be real. There's a real chance Splatoon 4 is a free live service model. They tested out a bit of a battle pass with this game. That isn't for no reason. Would you keep challenges? Yes. Challenges 100% are like one of the best casual things they added to the game. It was just hindered by the fucking times. The times were awful. It killed casual interest in the feature, and they could not fix it in time. The damage was done. And it was damage anyone from a mile away should have seen. I think that the challenge times are one of the biggest fuck-ups in the series. It is a genuine baffling decision how those time slots ended up. I truly don't understand it. It is on the level of Salmon Run being closed sometimes. I'm not talking about high-level lobbies. I think high-level lobby queue times are actually quite fine. I think lower down is where that problem is present. Or people would do comp if you could do challenges and PBEs. I mean, play challenges, yes. Would comp players do challenges? Sure. There would definitely be gimmick tournaments if you could access challenges and PBs. Okay, let me get this out of the way before we talk about should Splatoon be a live service game. Remember what I said about 5v5? How it depends. How it depends, right? That's live service too. It depends, man. You could do a live service game far better than you could a $60 game. Or it could be worse. I don't know. Depends how they do it. Also, I'm gonna be honest, guys. If Splatoon 4 is a $70 game, I'm looking a little more favorable at the live service model, I won't lie. Because the barrier for entry is only gonna be even higher if it's a $70 or even $80 game. And it's probably gonna be $70 for Splatoon 4. I don't think Splatoon 4 will be $80, unless if it's like way higher scale than we're thinking of. I do think it'll be $30. I do think it's going to be a $30 game, though. Or not 30. Why am I getting 30? 70. It will not be a $30 game. I think the big benefit of a free live service game is people trying out the game. If it is free to play, then like people will try the game who would never try it otherwise. That is a big benefit. You can't ignore it, really. $30 you have no faith in us for. That was the wrong thing! I was thinking of streaming zones, but remember what I said earlier? Yeah, I don't have interest. I mean, I think Mario Kart 8 is a... Or not Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart World is a much larger scale. Like, the Donkey Kong game is $70. I don't think Splatoon is going to cost more than Donkey Kong. Story mode tutorial. Paid single player, $20. I did make the gear, but I'm going to try it in a scrim. I don't want to play it in solo. Because I won't know in solo. I will say I've been having fun with this one, though. I have been having a lot of fun with Recycle. Showing better footage of the games, or showing better footage in terms of the games they chose? That could mean very different things. Yeah, I mean, Mario Kart made $1 bajillion with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That's probably the reason it's $80 and a launch title. That shit sold almost 70 million copies. Like, of course they're pouring more into it. Like, do you think the Animal Crossing isn't gonna have more poured into it too? Because that shit definitely gonna have way more put into it. Yeah, like, maybe it'll be the first World of Story mode or something. Tomodachi Life? I don't know, I'm not familiar with Tomodachi Life. I don't even know how much the original was. Well, I think between this, the reaction, and the scripting earlier, I might have shot my voice. But I think we might wrap up the discussion here. I think we've talked about everything I could think about. So, yeah, no, Smash was never going to release alongside Mario Kart. No chance, man. That's going to be spread out. I think Smash is a holiday release. I agree. I think it's going to be in the holidays. Who'll be the next protagonist of the story mode? I have no idea. No idea. Alright, in terms of direct related news, I think we got everything. Thank you for watching.